Welcome to the Deep Dive, brought to you by RWG Publishing. We're the place where we really dig into the insights from books and research that, well, you need to know about.
And today, we're definitely embarking on a fascinating journey. We're looking into one of the most recognized business empires on the planet.
That's right. Our source for this deep dive is Building an Empire, The Business Successes of Donald J. Trump by Bill Vincent.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to unpack those, let's say, audacious moves, the strategic thinking, and just the relentless drive that shaped this whole empire. We want to understand the core business philosophy, the key ventures that really defined Donald Trump's career. And the goal is always to pull out those essential nuggets of knowledge for you, our listener.
Right, and we're focusing squarely on the insights and facts presented in this book.
Exactly.
It's not just a timeline, is it? It's more of a story that takes us from, the family roots in real estate, where some crucial lessons were learned, all the way to global brand expansion. We'll look at that whole dance of risk and reward and really try to dissect the power of a name, which seems unparalleled here.
It's a huge part of it.
So yeah, let's jump right in.
Okay.
The book starts by really emphasizing the influence of his father, Fred Trump. Before Donald started, reshaping the Manhattan skyline, what was Fred's approach? What were the core ideas?
It's a really crucial starting point, actually. Fred Trump, born back in 1905, he showed this entrepreneurial spirit pretty early on.
Okay.
His real estate career kicked off in the 1920s, mainly building single-family homes. But his core principle, as the book lays out, was this intense focus on unmet demand for affordable, functional housing.
Right, not the flashy stuff.
No, not glamorous at all, but incredibly effective. Then after World War II, his company, Trump Management, really scaled up, building whole apartment complexes, communities.
Oh.
And this approach, it was all about consistent, low-risk wealth generation. It laid a very specific kind of groundwork.
What strikes me in the book about Fred is how, conservative he seemed. Almost cautious. Stability over flash,
Precisely. Fred's whole strategy was about minimizing risk. He was incredibly cautious with debt, prioritized steady cash flow above, pretty much everything else. But here's where it gets really interesting, as an insight from the book. He was apparently a master at leveraging government programs.
How so?
He worked a lot with the Federal Housing Administration, the FHA, using their subsidies. It basically de-risked his developments, helped ensure that long-term stability.
Okay.
This wasn't just about, grabbing grants. It was a real masterclass in understanding public sector incentives and aligning his private development with what the city needed. Essentially using taxpayer money, in a way, to bolster and guarantee his project.
That's smart.
And Donald saw all this firsthand. Visiting construction sites by age 13, soaking up lessons in negotiation, construction, finance management, directly from his dad.
So Fred built his empire on being cautious, which seems almost the opposite of the high-risk, high-reward thing we often associate with Donald. How did that early exposure shape Donald, even though he chose such a different path?
Yeah, that's a key question, isn't it? Because while Donald clearly absorbed the mechanics of the business, he had a totally distinct ambition. He wasn't going to stay in the outer boroughs. His sights were set right on Manhattan's core.
Which Fred avoided.
Deliberately avoided it, saw Manhattan's volatility as too speculative. But Donald, he was drawn to the glamour, the high stakes, the potential for massive rewards, and, importantly, the visibility.
Interesting contrast.
And the book points out this fascinating contrarian view he had. In the early 70s, Manhattan was really struggling. Financial instability, urban decay.
Yeah, I remember reading about that period.
Most people saw it as a reason to stay away. But Donald, armed with his Wharton education on top of the practical experience, he saw it as this unique, almost undervalued opportunity. Invest low now, reap huge rewards when it recovers.
So totally different risk appetite.
Fundamentally different. A real divergence in vision from his father right from the start.
Okay, so Manhattan's struggling. Donald sees an opening. And his first big move there was quite a gamble, wasn't it? The old Commodore Hotel.
Oh, yeah. A huge gamble. Many people really did view it as a symbol of the city's decline, like a lost cause.
Right next to Grand Central Station.
Exactly. And it was literally crumbling. But Donald's vision wasn't just let's fix it up. It was transform it, make it a world-class hotel, a signal of Manhattan's comeback.
And the book details how complex that deal was. It needed immense creativity, persistence.
Absolutely. It really showcased his unique approach to deal-making. It wasn't a solo act either.
Okay, so who else was involved? What kind of maneuvering did it take to pull that off?
Well, it was a masterclass in strategic partnership and leverage. First, he got the Hyatt Corporation on board, not just as a manager, but as an investor too. Offered them a profit share, tapped into their expertise.
Smart move.
Very. But maybe the most critical insight here, highlighted in the book, involves the government incentives. He negotiated a 40-year tax abatement from the city.
40 years. Wow.
Think about that. Essentially 0 property taxes on the massively increased value of the renovated hotel for 4 decades.
That's incredible.
It was a colossal financial advantage. It made the project viable, attractive. Remember, the city was desperate for revitalization, for jobs.
So he used that desperation as leverage.
Precisely. It dramatically lowered the future tax burden, which helped secure the financing. And the book also talks about his knack for building connections, like with the attorney Roy Cohn, who gave him crucial access to financial and political circles. It really shows how important relationships are in these huge deals.
That 40-year abatement really underscores how bad things were in New York then, doesn't it?
It really does.
And when the hotel reopened in 1980 as the Grand Hyatt, it wasn't just a financial win, right? It was huge for his reputation.
Oh, absolutely. It proved he could play and win in the Manhattan big leagues.
The defining moment.
Totally. The Grand Hyatt's success wasn't just about one hotel. It was a statement. It established Donald Trump as a major player, a visionary who could execute these incredibly complex, high-impact projects in the toughest urban environment, way outside his father's comfort zone.
Right. It was the first real proof of his unique model.
Exactly.
So with the Grand Hyatt success behind him, Donald aimed even higher. Trump Tower. Conceived in the late 70s, opened in '83. The book presents this not just as a building, but as this extraordinary symbol. Luxury. Opulence.
It really was designed as a statement in glass and marble. The book paints a vivid picture. 68 stories on Fifth Avenue, bronze-tinted glass, that opulent marble atrium, luxury condos, high-end shops.
And the goal was specific.
Explicitly stated, attract the absolute wealthy elite. Celebrities, moguls, dignitaries, create a genuine status symbol that would, elevate his own profile in the process.
So it wasn't just real estate, it was marketing, brand creation.
Exactly, aspirational marketing. And the book really emphasizes something crucial here. He wasn't just building physical spaces, he was meticulously crafting his own brand.
Making Trump mean something specific.
Synonymous with luxury, success, ambition on a national, even international scale. And he figured out the media game early on to achieve that.
How did he do that?
Well, he understood that media attention was currency. He cultivated relationships with journalists, proactively reached out with memorable sound bites. He got the power of the tabloids, like the Post and the Daily News, for reaching a broader audience beyond just, say, the Wall Street Journal.
Interesting. So it wasn't just reporting on his success.
It actively helped create it. This constant media presence built this aura of inevitability around his projects, which in turn made it easier to get financing, easier to make future deals, almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. That makes sense. And that brand, forged with Trump Tower, that became the launchpad for more expansion, like Atlantic City.
Yeah, absolutely. Trump Plaza, Trump Castle.
Huh.
He took that brand and aimed to dominate the casino market there, creating these luxurious, high-profile gambling destinations.
So as we're seeing, building an empire takes that strategic vision, that relentless execution. Look, if you're finding these insights valuable and want to dive even deeper into Donald Trump's strategic mind,
yeah, learn more about the ambitious projects, the business philosophies.
you really should check out Bill Vincent's Building an Empire. It offers an incredible deep dive. You can find it on Amazon. Just click the link in our show notes to explore more.
Definitely worth a read if this stuff interests you.
Okay, so connecting all these ventures is this clear business philosophy. It was famously laid out in his book, The Art of the Deal. What are some of the key principles from that book that kind of underpinned his approach during this big expansion phase?
Right. The Art of the Deal gives you a window into his thinking. A few principles really stand out. First, think big.
The famous one.
Yeah, but it wasn't just a slogan. The book suggests it was a deliberate strategy. Thinking big attracts disproportionate media attention, draws in high-caliber partners. It creates its own momentum, its own perceived value, even before you break ground. It was about pursuing projects that were not just profitable, but iconic, pushing boundaries, taking bold risks. Second, a real passion for the work itself. He genuinely seemed to love the thrill of the deal, the creation process. That fueled his perseverance.
You need that, I
For
guess.
sure. Third, a clear vision for every deal. Visualizing success even when looking at a rundown property, seeing potential where others just saw it decay. And finally, resilience and adaptability. Knowing you'll face setbacks and you need to pivot, renegotiate, stay in the game, that became incredibly important later on.
And central to all of that, especially for these massive projects, is negotiation.
Yeah.
The book presents it as both an art and a science for him.
Oh, definitely. His skill in negotiation emphasized leverage, timing, and crucially, being willing to walk away. The Commodore deal is a prime example again. He used the city's desperate need for revitalization as leverage for those huge tax abatements. His timing during a city crisis was perfect.
And he's the media, too.
Famously, turning public attention into another form of leverage. But the book also stresses it wasn't just showmanship. He prided himself on thorough preparation, researching the details, the personalities, the motivations of the people across the table.
So homework combined with PR savvy.
Exactly, a formidable combination.
Sounds like a powerful toolkit. But even with all that, the book doesn't gloss over the bumps, does it? Not every venture worked out. There's that critical skill of knowing when to, well, cut your losses.
This is maybe one of the most important lessons the book covers, especially from his time in Atlantic City. The Trump Taj Mahal opened in 1990. It was presented as this bold gamble, definitely, but also a cautionary tale. Cost nearly $1 billion and quickly led to unsustainable debt as the market there shifted.
So what happened?
By 1991, he was facing Chapter 11 bankruptcy filings for the Taj Mahal and other casinos. Now, for anyone unfamiliar, Chapter 11 lets companies legally reorganize their debts, renegotiate with creditors, sell assets, rather than just liquidating everything.
Okay, so it's a restructuring tool.
Exactly. And crucially, it provided a legal shield. It helped him restructure the corporate holdings while largely protecting his personal assets from those corporate debts. It was tough, but necessary to manage the debt and save his core wealth, even though it meant giving up equity in those specific casinos.
And he sold other things, too.
Yeah, other asset sales followed, like the Trump Shuttle airline, all to reduce debt. It showed a pragmatic side, shedding what wasn't working to protect the wider empire.
Okay, so after those financial crises in the 90s, how did he adapt? How did he stage a comeback? Because it seems like there was a big shift away from that heavy debt model.
There was a major pivot, yeah, a strategic rethink. He moved away from those debt-heavy acquisitions and started leveraging his personal brand through licensing. That dramatically cut his direct financial risk.
Ah, licensing.
Exactly. An early insightful move into media was buying the Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA pageants in '96. But the real game changer for his profile was The Apprentice, starting in 2004.
Right, the TV show.
That reality TV hit just propelled him to global stardom. It showcased his business persona to millions, and, as the book puts it quite well, it basically served as an hour-long infomercial for the Trump brand.
Huh, yeah, I can see that.
It elevated his brand to a whole new level of household recognition. Unprecedented, really.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Suddenly his face, his "you're fired" catchphrase, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
And that must have fueled the global brand expansion, right? Allowing him to grow without putting up all the capital himself.
Precisely. The show became the engine for a whole new wave of expansion. You saw the rapid spread of Trump International hotels and towers, luxury properties popping up in key global cities. Think Toronto in 2011, Dubai around 2010.
And the golf courses, too.
Yeah, he really got into the luxury golf course market, acquiring prestigious places like Trump National in Westchester back in '96, and later Trump Turnberry in Scotland in 2014, creating this whole global network of aspirational, high-end destinations.
And licensing was the key.
It became a cornerstone strategy. Licensing the Trump name allowed him to expand into all sorts of diverse industries, luxury goods, entertainment, international real estate deals, often without direct investment. He was capitalizing purely on his name's perceived value and that massive brand recognition The Apprentice had built.
But navigating global markets must be tricky. All the different economies, regulations, cultures. How did he manage that complexity?
Well, what's fascinating there, according to the book, is his adaptable approach. He managed these challenges by forming strong local partnerships and maintaining a high degree of adaptability, making sure the projects resonated with local tastes and fit the regulatory environment while still keeping that distinct, luxurious Trump standard. It was about finding the right local expertise and balancing global brand consistency with, regional specifics.
Makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's fast forward to the 2020s. After his presidency, he comes back to a business world that's changed dramatically, post-pandemic shifts, remote work, changing commercial property.
Yeah.
How did he reassess and adapt then?
Yeah, this period really brings up that theme of continued adaptability and resilience again. The book mentions a renewed focus on reassessment strategies, things like repurposing some commercial properties to better fit the new market demands, and really doubling down on high-end luxury travelers who remained a pretty strong market segment. There's also talk of exploring sustainability in new projects, which is interesting, and of course, continuing to leverage social media and digital platforms for branding and direct communication, building on that media mastery he developed early on.
So adapting existing properties too.
Revitalizing existing holdings, like adapting golf courses and resorts perhaps for luxury residential communities, and also a renewed, maybe more carefully chosen, international expansion. Looking at less politically charged markets, particularly mentioned are the Middle East and Southeast Asia. These are described as key parts of this latest phase.
Wow. We've really covered a remarkable journey today, haven't we? Exploring the building of this empire. It's been a real deep dive into that ambitious vision, the strategic deal-making, the relentless self-branding, the resilience through those tough financial challenges, and that continuous adaptation across really different market conditions.
Yeah.
If you connect this to the bigger picture, Donald Trump's career, at least as Bill Vincent presents in this book, it really seems to demonstrate that this unwavering belief in your own vision, when you couple it with a sharp understanding of market dynamics and how to use media, well, it can transform a family business into a global empire, often by just defying conventional wisdom.
That's a great summary. And it leaves you thinking, what does his story really teach us about the power, the enduring, maybe even evolving power of a personal brand in today's business world? Right. Where maybe the name itself becomes the most valuable asset.
That is a powerful thought to leave everyone with. Definitely something to mull over. And if you are curious to explore more about these fascinating business ventures and the strategic thinking behind them,
you know what to do.
You can find Building an Empire, The Business Successes of Donald J. Trump by Bill Vincent on Amazon. Just check the link in our show notes for easy access.
Yep, it's right there.
Well, thank you for listening to the Deep Dive podcast. We really hope this exploration has given you some valuable insights and maybe left you a little more well-informed.